Hello everyone, welcome to another award-winning edition of the Locker Room Chat. My name is John Williams and I'm joined by my co-host Walter Stair, and for the next 60 minutes we're going to be talking sports here on BBB TV channel 12 and all across the internet.
You better believe it. It's getting real close to real football time, and that's my time of year.
Certainly is. Is it August 18th on a Thursday night for high school?
That's it. We'll be ready.
And also middle school football kicks off tomorrow night.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, they were a little bit early than high school, but yeah, August 4th, Clinton Middle will be hosting the Robertsville Rams.
Okay.
And the Norris Middle School Senators, they are traveling to Lenore City.
Well, that's a good trip for them.
So yeah, so middle school football starting, so football season is here.
Yes, it is. We'll be ready and waiting.
And our phone lines are open. Give us a call. We might give you a prize. We got a trivia box back there, so we'll give you a trivia question. If you get it right, I mean, if you just call in, we might give you a prize.
That sounds good. That's a bargain.
All right. Walter, how you been the past week?
So far, so good. I actually turned down a job offer to do football for Meigs County, play-by-play, and I had to think about it for a day and a night. And I would have been a traveling road show, probably averaging 90 miles to the ball field and 90 miles back each weekend, and my poor legs couldn't quite handle that.
I bet that's tough for you to do. I know you love to do play-by-play.
Oh, yes.
You're really good at it, and I'm sure that tug at your heartstrings a little bit.
It certainly did. I wish it was closer to home. If it was within 35 miles, I would have jumped at it easy.
Meigs County Tigers, they're a pretty good football program.
Oh, they certainly are. I've talked to the gentleman about it, and they were 76-8 over the last ever so many years. But 76 wins and 8 losses, that's not bad.
Yeah, they're really good. I know Clinton traveled down there. I think it's Coach Randy McCamey's last season. And, you know, they played Meigs County tough that night, but ended up on the short end of the scoreboard. I think that was Trace Staggerson. That was his first start for Clinton. He was a
good one.
He was a sophomore that year, and he got thrown into the mix. Seemed like Jacob Brock, I believe, was the starting quarterback for Clinton. He got injured, and they put Staggerson in. So
You've got a good memory. There's no doubt. Meigs County, I noticed. A 2A school, they've only got about 540 students or thereabouts, and so they do quite well for being a 2A school.
Oh, they certainly do. I've had some players there go on to play for Tennessee, and I think last year or two they had one of the quarterback was up for Mr. Football. He might have actually won it. I can't really recall. It seemed like he might have won it his junior year, but they were knocking on the door to play for a state title there a few years. I think Rockwood upset them. Big upset. I don't know what year that was, not been too long ago, but they upset Meigs County in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
Walter, we've lost two big sports icons here this week. Bill Russell and Vince Scully.
You better believe Vince Scully was a top-notch announcer in every regard.
Well, he could spin some stories, couldn't he?
You better believe it.
Yeah, Vince Scully, he 94 years old. He was a play-by-play for the Dodgers, voice of the Dodgers, started with the Brooklyn Dodgers, and for 67 years.
That's incredible.
Yeah, he's the best all time. I swear he didn't have a color man either.
And the thing is, he
think
never had any dead space. I mean, he was always leaving it right in there. He kept it interesting every second.
He did baseball, of course, the Dodgers. He also did a lot of other sports, football. I think he did some golf. But he had a 67-year career, and he caught 18 no-hitters and 3 perfect games.
Goodness gracious. That's stout right there.
When I was coming in, I was listening, and he was 89 years old when he retired. And he was talking to him about it, and they said, well, when you retire at 65, you've got about 25 years probably left to live. But, he retired at 89. Somebody asked him, well, what are you going to do? And he said, well, I'm going to try to live.
Oh, yes.
So he lived 5 more years, 94 years old. But just the best announcer. He's just amazing, I thought.
That was one guy that knew how to do it.
Just to listen to him. And maybe his greatest call, I looked him up today, maybe was the catch in 1982, the Dwight Clark against the Cowboys. Caught that touchdown pass from Joe Montana.
I remember that really well. I can see it right here.
And we was all cheering then. We was glad the Cowboys got beat.
Yeah, the Cowboys were doing quite well at that point in time, and then San Francisco sort of overtook them a little bit.
Right, yeah, they sure did. Also, he called the perfect game, Don Larson's perfect game in the World Series. That was the only perfect game ever thrown in the World Series. Of course, it's really hard to throw a perfect game, but that's the only one in the World Series, and that happened in 1956.
That was a little bit before our time, but.
And Ben Scully was there.
Oh, yes.
He also called a perfect game from Sandy Koufax in 1965. Of course, in 1974, he was in Fulton County Stadium, the Dodgers playing the Braves, and Hank Aaron broke the Babe Ruth's record.
I remember that real well.
Hit number 715.
And I was jumping up and down, and so was Fannin. We were at the radio station hearing the broadcast, and we were jumping up and down like we were crazy people.
And I can recall that game was on TV. I remember watching it, and but Ben Scully, he just had a way of calling the action. I didn't really realize it till they were talking about it on the show tonight on one of the radio stations I was listening to. But he, some of his memorable calls, he'd make the call, but then he would pause, and he wouldn't say anything else. He'd just let the crowd noise come in.
Oh, yeah.
And the fans, and he knew when to be quiet and when to speak. And I never really realized that. Just going back and listening to some of his calls, but he always would make the pause like that.
Make the pause, and the excitement fills it in.
Mm-hmm. And he called him Henry Aaron.
That's it.
And he's always hold him as the all-time home run king.
I still do to this day. I don't care what it actually says. He is the one that is the class act that did not cheat in doing what he did.
Exactly. And some other calls he had in 1986 in Game 6 of the World Series, the infamous Bill Buckner let that ground ball go between his legs.
Yeah.
Against the New York Mets, and the Mets end up winning Game 6, end up winning Game 7 as well.
Oh, yes.
Also, he had the Kirk Gibson call. He cranked up the lawnmower, run around second base.
That's it.
I guess they called it the hobbled walk-off homer. That was Game 1. That was the Dodgers and the A's, I believe, in '88. I believe that was the year they had the earthquake out there in Oakland, too. wasn't it?
Yes. I actually remember that.
At one of the World Series games. And he also called in a walk-off home run, a World Series winner in Game 6, Joe Carter. I believe that was against the Twins. I mean, that was against the Braves, wasn't it? Was Carter playing for the Twins then?
I think so.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I remember watching that. I think that was an extra inning game, but just some of his calls. You know, he had plenty of them.
67 years. My goodness.
Yeah, he started in 1950 with the Brooklyn Dodgers. And I also heard another little story today. Joe Davis is now he took over for Vince Scully for the Los Angeles Dodgers, and of course, Scully retired in '89, and or around there, '88, '89, I think. But Joe Davis, he got a call on his phone. You know, he didn't recognize the number, so he didn't answer it. So it called again. And he still didn't answer. This time there was a voicemail. So he a little bit later on he checked his voicemail and it was Vin Scully. And Scully said, "Well, Joe, I tried to reach you a couple of times, so I guess I'm 0 for 2." So
That's it.
yeah, Vin Scully, he'll definitely be missed. Also, another sports icon, Bill Russell,
Oh, yes.
passed away at the age of 88.
He was something else. He was one of the best rebounders that's ever been, one of the best defensive players that's ever been, a true class act. And always growing up, I looked at 3 centers that were ultimate, and that was Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And Russell, of course, was the first one, and had 11 championships. And I always respected, and have always respected the Celtics, but I highly respected him and John Havlicek and Larry Bird. But more of my team was more of the LA Dodgers, LA Lakers with Magic and Kareem. But I had so much respect always for the Celtics. I never threw off on them because they were, big time rivals with the Lakers. But I always had great respect for them.
Right, he had some battles there with Wilt Chamberlain.
Oh, yes.
With the Lakers.
Unbelievable stuff.
But Bill Russell, sort of bit before our time, I guess. I mean, we were alive, but we weren't really old enough to appreciate watching him play, at that time.
Right through 1969 he retired, which you were, 7 or 8, and I was 11, so.
Right, and do you know how many rebounds would you guess he averaged per game? You mentioned he's the second all-time leading rebounder. I guess it's Jabbar's probably first. I'm not sure.
I think so. I would probably figure 13 or 14 rebounds a game.
He averaged 22 rebounds a game.
Whoa. Good Lord.
And he averaged 15 points a game, but as you mentioned, he was a rebounding specialist and defensive player. And
oh, yes.
He said he could block shots.
Oh, yes.
He would block them to where he would catch the block, instead of just swatting it. He'd just go up and tap it and go up and get it.
He knew how to play basketball. That's the way it was done.
Yeah, he was a 5-time NBA Most Valuable Player, a 12-time All-Star. Of course, it's Bill Russell we're talking about. As you mentioned, 11 titles in his 13-year career. He won 2 NCAA titles with the San Francisco Dons back in 1955 and 56. I also heard another stat. He never lost a Game 7. I think there was 20 Game 7s in the NBA, and he never lost one of them.
My goodness.
And he was also the captain of the gold medal U.S. team in 1956, the Summer Olympics. And as we mentioned, he's second all time in total rebounds and rebounds per game. And he was also the first black head coach in NBA history.
Yeah.
He's actually a player coach.
Oh, that is right.
At the end of his career, he took over in like April of '66. I think his last year was '69, but Red Auerbach was the coach during, during his playing days. But Auerbach, he retired before the '66 season, and they was wanting to get Bob Cousy, I think Tommy Heinsohn. There was another guy they tried to get the coach. They all turned it down, and finally Russell, he accepted the position in April of '66, which the NBA season was about over that year.
Right.
But he came back to win 2 NBA championships as a player coach in 1968 and 1969.
That would be hard to do. I don't know how you could actually be a player coach. I just don't know how you could balance that out.
Right, and he went on to coach some more. I think he coached the Clippers, like LA team there for a while before he retired.
Right.
He had a winning record in the NBA. I'm not sure what it was, but it was quite over the 500 mark. And he's also I mentioned that his first black head coach in NBA history.
Right.
So it's 2 great sports icons right there that we lost, Bill Russell and Vince Scully.
Both true class acts in every way.
So we're going to go ahead and take our first break of the night. We'll be right back to talk some high school sports or college sports or anything you'd like to talk about, so give us a call. You're watching the Locker Room.
You got a pain in your neck, just turn that wreck into a check. Get the money you need, get the money you want. Call OEB Law.
You can pick anybody to help you with your motorcycle wreck, or you can choose the pros at OEB Law. Let us turn your motorcycle wreck into a check.
You got a pain in your neck, just turn that wreck into a check. Get the money you need, get the money you want. Call OEB Law.
Experience, respect, integrity. Tom McFarland is running for chancellor to bring these values to Chancery Court in the 9th District. Tom has practiced law here for over 30 years. He believes that judges should enforce the law, but never make the law. That's why so many community leaders are proud to support him. When early voting starts on July 15th, vote for justice. Vote for respect. Vote for conservative Tom McFarland for chancellor.
At Earl F. Subaru, we're more than a car dealer. We're a Subaru retailer and Tennessee's only 11-time winner of the Subaru Love Promise Award. We're proud to be active in supporting our community and have fostered partnerships with local charities such as CASA of the Tennessee Valley and the Roane County Animal Shelter. We're also committed to our customers, and our state-of-the-art facility in Kingston features expanded service capacity to provide the quality automotive care that you deserve.
2022 Subaru Outback models are available now at Earl Duff Subaru in Kingston or on the web at duffsubaru.com.
We treat you like family at RMG. Bring your junk, cars, aluminum cans. We'll buy it on the spot and we'll pay you a lot. We treat you like family at RMG. Yeah, we treat you like family at RMG. We treat you like family.
Rome Metals is located just off of Highway 27 between Herman and Rockwood.
I'm Amanda, one of the RN shift leaders at Rome Medical Center. I love the sense of community that we have here. It's unlike anything I've ever experienced, and that's why I choose Rome Medical Center.
I choose Rome Medical Center because this is where my heart is. My family and friends use Rome Medical Center, and I want everyone that comes through our doors to have an experience that makes them as proud of Rome Medical Center as I am.
Find out why Rome Medical Center is the best choice for your future in healthcare. Learn more at ronemedicalcenter.com.
Welcome back into the Locker Room Chat. And BBB TV 12 is hosting a coaches show this Saturday. I don't know, not necessarily hosting it, but they were carrying it. There you can see there on the screen, E2 Sports countdown to kickoff. It will be this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12, and Mark Packer from the locker room, and also on Rivalry Thursday, he's hosting that show, and as you can see there, it will be here on BBB TV 12 and also online. So you don't want to miss that from 10 to 12. And Walter's supposed to be some local coaches there.
Well, that'll be good.
High school coaches,
They can find out a lot of what's going on sort of behind the scenes with the coaches and what's been happening in the fall as you prepare for football just around the bend.
I haven't heard what coaches will be there, but I imagine that E2 Sports, they are in Harriman, so I imagine Coach Tapp probably be there, and probably all the local coaches around.
The Roane County folks and Morgan County folks down there.
Anderson County, so hopefully tune in to that. That'll be a good show to preview. Again, that's this Saturday live from E2 Sports in Harriman. I think E2 Sports, I believe they sell a lot of sports merchandise. I think maybe for teams as well, they can buy the jerseys and things like that. I'm not sure if Reno's is still in Harriman or not.
Huh. No, I don't know.
Downtown Harriman, Reno's been there for years, you know. Also, I'd like to pass along something that Brad sent us. Said Coalfield's own Parker McKinney is named to the Walter Payton watch list.
Now that's a good thing right there.
And Parker McKinney, he plays for Eastern Kentucky, and he's on this Walter Payton Award preseason watch list. And last season he was an all-ASUN performer as he plays for Eastern Kentucky, and that's in the Bowl Championship subdivision. Last year, he set the single-season program record for completions, 229, and became just the second player in Eastern Kentucky football history to surpass 3,000 total yards of offense. As McKinney, he also had 596 yards rushing and 6 touchdowns, as he also threw 18 touchdowns and completed 60.7% of his passes.
That's good.
So Parker McKinney, he played at Coalfield, and I think he played there as a freshman. I mean, 8th grader.
Well, my goodness.
So
get 5 years in on the varsity.
He's a redshirt junior. So congratulations to Parker McKinney there at Eastern Kentucky. And Walter, before you get into anything, what do you think about this Deshaun Watson 6-game suspension he got?
No, I have not heard the specifics of it, but I understand it's very controversial, and a lot of the NFL is quite upset about it. I don't really understand the full thing. I think it had something to do with assault on a woman or what have you, but...
well, there's 24 women sexual misconduct. He's in a massage parlor, and of course he denies any wrongdoing, but he's NFL has come out, they're going to appeal that. Apparently this lady, Sue Robinson, she's a disciplinarian officer. I don't know who she works for. I guess she works for I don't know, but she levied like a 6-game suspension for that, for what he did. So I was glad to see NFL, they're appealing that to the players' union.
Right.
They're looking for maybe a minimum of 1 year suspension, plus levy a fine, and plus make him do some other things.
You would think so. I mean, he needs to definitely be punished for it. Everything.
6 games for sexual misconduct. Calvin Ridley of the Atlanta Falcons. I think now he's with the Raiders. No, he might still be with the Falcons, but he got suspended for a whole year this coming. He can't play because he gambling.
Yeah.
That don't make sense, does it? He gets a whole year for gambling, and Watson gets 6 games for abusing 24 women. What's wrong with that picture?
I don't quite get it.
Right. Yeah, so anyway, what you got for us, sir, Walter?
Well, actually, 11 out of the 30 that we talked about last week about different ball players, the top 30, and 11 out of those have now, of the 30, have committed. Most recently, Alcoa senior offensive lineman Tyler Bubba Jeffries has committed to Indiana. The senior to be 6'5", 305, made his college verbal commitment, and Lance Williams, also of Alcoa, 6'3", 275, has committed to Virginia Tech. And also in recruiting news, Tennessee baseball team, they're recruiting a good mix of both players nationally and locally. Pigeon Forge left-hander Dylan Loy and Catholic two-way player Daniel Paris are part of the 2023 class. Bearden Jr. catcher Brooks Wright and Farragut Jr. outfielder Brennan Ziegler have long been committed to Tennessee for 2024. But now Wright and Ziegler have another local talent to join their group. Jefferson County Jr. Bo Revord, I guess that's Bo Revord, announced his commitment to the Vols on social media, Twitter, Monday night. Revord is 6'2", 190 pounders, only 16 years old, entered high school in 2020, and matter of fact, he was really more known for basketball, but he is a multi-talented player that could actually play for UT in both baseball and basketball, but that according to Jefferson County coach Zach Reese. So that's rather interesting, and not too often do you have a player that could very well right off the bat go and play 2 sports in the college ranks.
I've heard his name before there at Jefferson County.
Yeah.
Tennessee also got a transfer from Cincinnati, an outfielder. He's a graduate transfer, and he should come in probably. He was like player of the year last year in their conference. He's coming to Tennessee to play for Tony Tallow.
Oh, yes. And he keeps bringing in the good recruits, and 2 super years in a row, and let's just keep it going, Volunteers.
Yeah, he's got a third baseman from Alabama coming in, and that shortstop from Kansas. He's supposed to be all-world, so...
just keep them coming.
Yeah.
Also, switching gears back to high school football, big standout for Powell as they prepare to defend their 5A championship. They still have J.J. Faust now in his 4th year. He just keeps getting better. He's very much contributed in his freshman, sophomore, and his junior year. Faust caught 51 passes and 6 touchdowns. Also added 110 tackles, 10 for loss, 4 sacks, 6 pass breakups, and 2 interceptions.
Yeah, let's read something. He's like the glue of that team. He's like very valuable. I mean, you got those stud receivers. They got Aiden Green and Darius Redmond.
Exactly.
And you got the quarterback, but that's J.J. Faust. Don't hear much about him, but he does it all, as you mentioned there, offense and defense.
And also Oak Ridge last Friday, they were at Fulton, and Oak Ridge scored 5 touchdowns in that matchup. And both coaches of Oak Ridge and Fulton said they've got a lot of holes to fill up both offensively and defensively. And new quarterback for Oak Ridge is Peyton Sharp. And Fulton quarterback Marcellus Jackson was able to show off his speed as he scored a touchdown for Fulton. But also that Dozier fella for Oak Ridge had a big night for the Wildcats as well, as he showed a lot of speed in that matchup.
Yeah, Oak Ridge has got some skilled players, and I was reading something there. Head coach Scott Cummins, he wanted to focus on running the football in that scrimmage, and they did that. And as you mentioned, Dozier, running back, and also they got Ja Hundley.
Exactly.
And they got a quarterback battle going on. Who'd you say is the quarterback?
Sharp is the quarterback at the moment, but I think they've got another guy that's coming in that could push him quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I can't recall what his name is, but
I've got a freshman coming in, played at Norris Middle, Stansberry.
Played at Norris Middle, is coming to Oak Ridge. I don't know if I like that or not.
Yeah, he just bypassed Clinton altogether. So
well, that's how it goes
he just
sometimes.
Jumped Clinton, went to Oak Ridge.
We don't like that.
Old Cody will be calling in and getting on to us. He'll be wanting to come down here and put us in a figure four.
Oh, Lord, let's hope not.
Right.
We don't need that.
But yeah, Oak Ridge, I look for them to be pretty good this year. You know, you picked them last week. You thought was the best team in their Tri-County viewing area, and they most certainly might be. They're explosive with that offense they got with those skilled players, and you know, Brandon Hayward there on the outside. They got some other receivers. And, you know, if they can get their line, that's what Coach Cummins, he's wanting to get their line to come along.
If he makes the holes happen, they have got the skilled players to do what they need to do.
They can run it, you know, it'll certainly open up the passing game.
Oh, yeah.
But the quarterback, he just has to be, not make mistakes, you know, be efficient with it.
Oh, yeah. And also over at Campbell County, a guy by the name of Landon Hensley is ready to take the reins as Campbell County's starting quarterback. He's only a sophomore. Hensley has a lot of upperclassmen to throw to. The Cougars were 6-5 last year and got the last playoff spot in a district that is quite tough, top to bottom, with Powell, Oak Ridge, Clinton, Carnes, Lenoir City, and Campbell County. So I look at that top to bottom, one of the more tough and more balanced districts around.
Certainly, yeah. Got Campbell County, I think, picked like 5th in that region. I know they lost quite a bit, but
exactly,
as you mentioned, they got some receivers back, and the sophomore quarterback they're pretty high on.
Right, and this one we were talking a little bit off mic. After 5 seasons at Farragut High School, boys basketball coach John Higgins decided to head to Science Hill. He had over 5 seasons, won 83 games, so close to 17 wins a season, which really isn't bad at Farragut.
Right, Higgins, he was on Oak Ridge staff there for a little bit, Coach Green, and he went to Central, coached there a little bit. Then he went to Farragut, and they really came on the last 3 years or since he's been there. I know Clinton eliminated them twice there in the region, like an opening round. Then last year they broke through. I think they ended up having to play Science Hill, or it might have been Kingsport. That was that game. Remember they had the fight there, and
oh yes,
a lot of their players got, for whatever reason, couldn't play the next game because they left the bench, and then they finally ended up agreeing letting them to play, you know, but they didn't let all their players play, so that was a tough break for them.
That was a real big mess at the time. But
he's going to Science Hill, so it's a basketball powerhouse up in Upper East Tennessee.
It certainly is. And it took Hardin Valley just 2 weeks after the resignation of Shane Wells as their head coach to get Andy Arndt as the new coach, as he joined Farragut Lady Admirals in 2016, and then has been there since 2016, and then took over the job at Hardin Valley.
I've not heard of him. Where did he come from?
He was at Farragut as the assistant coach with the Lady Admirals.
Oh, the Lady
since 2016.
He's going from girls to boys.
Exactly.
Okay. I know Clinton, he mentioned some of the other players. Barrett Maddox, big lineman, offensive lineman.
Oh, yeah.
He picked up a couple more offers, one from Middle Tennessee, one from South Florida. So I think he's got 22 offers now.
Oh, my goodness. That's great.
Yeah. And also, Connor Moody, Clinton High School student athlete. He graduated this year. He signed a baseball scholarship with Pikeville.
Well, good. Great.
So his coach, Eric Clinton, Rob Stacy, that's where he played his college baseball. So Connor Moody is going to be continuing his education and sports at playing baseball for Pikeville.
Good news.
He had a lot of steals last year. I think he had 40-something steals.
My goodness.
Yeah. So he was nationally ranked in that. So he's just he's a tough young man. I know the Dragons will miss him on the football field as well.
That's for sure.
As well as the diamond. So right now we're going to go ahead and take another break. Our phone lines are open. Give us a call. We'll be right back. You're watching the Locker Room Chat.
Hello, I'm Criminal Court Judge Jeff Wicks, and I'm proud to support Tom McFarland for Chancellor. I've known Tom for over 50 years, and he has the integrity, the intellect, the patience, and the temperament to be a great Chancellor.
Call OEB Law today and let us turn your motorcycle wreck into a check.
You got a pain in your neck, just turn that wreck into a check. Get the money you need, get the money you want. Call OEB Law. We treat you like family at RMG. Bring your junk, cars, aluminum cans. We'll buy it on the spot and we'll pay you a lot. We treat you like family at RMG. Yeah, we treat you like family at RMG. We treat you like family.
Rome Metals is located just off of Highway 27 between Herman and Rockwood.
At Earl F. Subaru, we're more than a car dealer. We're a Subaru retailer and Tennessee's only 11-time winner of the Subaru Love Promise Award. We're proud to be active in supporting our community and have fostered partnerships with local charities such as CASA of the Tennessee Valley and the Roane County Animal Shelter. We're also committed to our customers, and our state-of-the-art facility in Kingston features expanded service capacity to provide the quality automotive care that you deserve.
2022 Subaru Outback models are available now at Earl Duff Subaru in Kingston or on the web at duffsubaru.com.
I choose Rome Medical Center because this is where my heart is. My family and friends use Rome Medical Center, and I want everyone that comes through our doors to have an experience that makes them as proud of Rome Medical Center as I am. I'm Nancy Easter, Manager of Materials at Rome Medical Center, and I'm so happy to work for an employer that values me and makes me feel appreciated.
Find out why Roane Medical Center is the best choice for your future in healthcare. Learn more at roanemedicalcenter.com.
Call OEB Law today and let us turn your motorcycle wreck into a check.
You got a pain in your neck, just turn that wreck into a check. Get the money you need, get the money you want. Call OEB Law.
Hey everybody, I'm Sheriff Wayne Potter. It's an honor to join the other sheriffs in the 9th District to endorse Tom McFarland as our next chancellor. Tom's a good friend of mine. I think he's a fair man, and I also believe he'd be the best choice and the greatest choice to be our next chancellor.
Welcome back into the Locker Room Chat, our last segment of the night. And Walter, we got some high school football scrimmages coming up this week as the season is a couple weeks away, isn't it?
Yeah, we like that. It's getting closer and closer. The pads are hitting with all the practice and getting ready for the first game.
2 weeks from tomorrow. I'm not sure whose that Thursday night game is, though.
You know, I for some unknown reason, not sure
I know the first BBB OEB Law game of the week, that's Powell at Anderson County.
Right.
On August 19th. But scrimmage is coming up. Maryville's at Oak Ridge. Will be at Blankenship Friday night. Take on the Wildcats.
They'll probably have quite a few folks just watching that.
Yeah, so it'll be a good scrimmage right there. Fans get out.
Oh,
Oak Ridge
yeah.
Fans get out and watch Wildcats against Maryville. Get a taste there and get a big test there.
That's some big-time football.
Yeah.
For sure.
Also, Oliver Springs is at Wartburg Friday.
That's a good rivalry. Those two will definitely get after it.
First-year head coach Tyler Harper taking his Bobcats to Wartburg, and also Wartburg first-year head coach Dustin Peels. Also, CAK is at Clinton Friday night.
Okay. That'll be a good one.
It was originally scheduled to be at CAK, but CAK is getting their track worked on, and so they moved that to Clinton. So Dragon faithful get out and watch their Dragons against CAK.
I guess it was last year Clinton had problems going in with the field, and it's really good that everything's doing good there now.
Yeah, last year they was putting the turf down and
right.
Had to move one of their early games over to West High School. And we got some scrimmages also last week I'd like to touch on, and go back to that Oak Ridge and Fulton scrimmage.
Right.
I heard that was like 44-14, the Wildcats.
It certainly was. The Wildcats really, I think they scored 5 touchdowns fairly quickly, rushing-wise.
I think last year Fulton had their way with Oak Ridge, I heard, in the scrimmage, so sort of flipped the script. And that was at Fulton. So I know Fulton's got a new head coach this year, Coach Black. He stepped down, so that's. And also Coach Gaddis as well at Oak Ridge, with Coach Cummins coming in.
There's more turnover, it just seems like, and we've touched on it, a lot of turnover coaching-wise from last year to this year in both football and basketball.
Certainly. And 100 new head coaches in high school this year.
And that's unbelievable. And 20 in our immediate area.
And in our little Tri-County area, we've got 4 new head coaches. As I mentioned, Scott Cummins at Oak Ridge, Dustin Peels at Wartburg, Tyler Harper, Oliver Springs, and Justin O'Toole at Midway.
Goodness.
And speaking of Midway, they scrimmaged Rockwood earlier this week or last week. Also, Livingston Academy was there in that scrimmage. I haven't heard how it turned out or anything.
Well, they're always tough football team.
Yeah, so Rockwood and Midway going at it. I got to go to the some other scrimmages last week. Anderson County, they end up scrimmaging Stone Memorial, and they look pretty good in that.
That's good.
Walker Martinez threw some touchdown passes there for Coach Gillum. And I think Eli Braden, his name, Eli Braden, like a junior receiver. He looked pretty good there as well, and Ryan Moog as well. Had a good performance there for the Mavericks. And the Mavericks, forgot that, they travel to Kingsport this Friday.
Now that'll be a good test for them.
Scrimmage Dobbins Bennett.
Because Kingsport's always got a good team.
I got to go to the Clinton, Cofield, and Kingston scrimmage.
I bet that was interesting.
Last Thursday, a 3-way scrimmage, and I thought all three schools did some good things. And all three also as well have some things to work on.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
Kingston really, they impressed me. They had a long touchdown run by Parker Jones there early in the scrimmage. So, and also their quarterback, they started out with the Ryland Gettner as their quarterback. I'm hearing that Mason Martin may be the starting quarterback for Kingston. He's a senior. So anyway, they were sort of rotating quarterbacks. Cofield, Cole Hines, I thought he had really good scrimmage. He passed the ball well and ran it. And Cofield did some good things with Coach Benson Napier.
And Cofield taking on higher seeded team in Clinton as far as classification. That certainly did him some good.
Ron Clinton did some good things as well. He was moving the ball. They had trouble getting it in the end zone there. Starting out, they ended up scoring a couple touchdowns. But some of the players that stood out for them was quarterback Joshua Keith. He hit first play, hit a long pass to Lucas Kendall.
That always can give you a shot in the arm and get you some momentum immediately. That's what you need.
Some of the other players that stood out to me was Juwan Goins. He's a transfer from Alcoa. Also, another kid they got from South Doyle, Damon Marble.
Okay.
Both of them were running the ball. And also Chauncey Feltz. He played last year for Clinton, and he was in the backfield and did some good things, I thought, as well.
Oh, great. So of course, the first game on BBB Channel 12 will be on August 19th, Powell at Anderson County. And a lot of folks already talking about that sort of matchup. That will be something else. Powell, the defending 5A champions. Anderson County had a good year, particularly towards the last and into the playoffs. But I think, 6-6, and had a lot of injuries, but won the games they needed to within their district to be undefeated. So.
Yeah, Anderson County's played them tough last couple years.
Oh, yeah.
Could easily won both those games, especially the 2 years ago. Powell scored a touchdown there in the last seconds to win, and last year Anderson County gave them all they wanted.
And, you look at Anderson County and Powell, they both have pretty darn tough schedules. So I don't have Powell's right in front of me, but I do Anderson County. Anderson County playing Powell, then Science Hill, then Fulton, Ray County, South Doyle, Elizabethton, Carter, Gibbs, Bearden, and Scott County. I mean, any of those teams could give them a fit on any given week.
I saw where the Sentinels come out this way. They're picking Anderson County to go 9-1.
My goodness.
With that loss being to Powell.
So expecting them to go 9-0 the rest of the way after Powell. That's interesting.
Yeah, they were previewing the 3A and 4A, and this, of course, that's 4A, and they talk like Anderson County be right in the mix there with Greenville and Elizabethton.
Well, they've got certainly a pretty good chance. I mean, Science Hill's better, generally speaking, in basketball, but they're good in football. And Fulton is sort of rebuilding. Ray County's always tough. South Doyle's always tough. Elizabethton is. Carter is sort of in the mix. Gibbs is in the mix. And Bearden and Scott, they will probably be favored, particularly in the Carter, Gibbs, Bearden, and Scott County games, and probably Science Hill and Fulton. But South Doyle and Ray County will probably be pretty darn tough.
We'll be giving our predictions in the next week or two before the season starts. we'll be running down the regions and all that. You know, NIL is creeping into the high school ranks.
I don't like the way that this so-called free agentry in college and maybe in high school into college. I don't understand all this stuff. It's just like it's madness.
Right. Yeah, it's confusing. But I was looking at the NIL, the name, image, and likeness, and there's 9 states that already allow that in high school. And
I just don't know how you can truly handle that sort of thing. But
those 9 states, there's Alaska, California, Louisiana, Kansas, Utah, Colorado, Nebraska, New Jersey, and New York. That's the 9 states that allow NIL. And I guess you know, Tennessee got that quarterback from California, Nico.
Yeah.
So I guess, you know, the $8 million man, I guess it's, if you live in those states, I guess you can make some money.
That's amazing. I mean, I know the cost of living is higher in California, but my goodness.
There's 11 other states right now just reviewing it.
Yeah.
And I think Tennessee's one of those. Well, Tennessee's supposed to come out in December. There's a chance, you know, they're going to look at it. Bernard Childress, executive director, didn't he step down? I thought he was supposed to retire at
That's what I
1st of July, but
yeah.
I'm not sure. I didn't see anything official come down on that. But Tennessee's supposed to review it. You know, I don't know if they're going to vote on it or anything like that, but I guess they may. But it's going to be a little bit different in college. I was looking it up, and because Ohio, the state of Ohio's already rejected it. So,
okay.
But they're in, you know, there's a third party involved. You know, like in Louisiana, Arch Manning, you know, he's going to Texas. I'm sure he's signed a deal, but there's a third party there in Louisiana. It's called Ecker Sports, and is, you know, designed to help navigate that NIL landscape. And they're going to, you know, athletic directors, they must complete an education program created by this Ecker Sports, and the company also is going to monitor it. You know, the NIL deals have like a foundation set up there that process the flow of funds from the company to these student athletes. You know, it's not going to be as wide open like the college. You know, college is more so for the elite athletes, the NIL deals.
Right.
And, high school will be maybe just be for everybody, but it'll be governed more. It'll be more transparent, more visible. That's what they're saying. But you know, somebody was saying that the players will be able to go to different schools, saying this area won't be no zones where you're zoned to go to school. You can just go to this school, that school. I don't know, but I don't. Right? Yeah, I don't know if I'm all for that or not.
Sheer madness.
No. Yeah, it's sheer madness. But Chandler's got some region standings there from last season, and we'll look at that and maybe familiarize everybody out there with the schools in these regions. And as you can see, the 2021 record and overall record, but this is Class 1A, Region 2, and you got 7 teams in that region. Of course, me and Walter will be making our predictions in the next week or two on these regions, but right there's teams right there in our coverage area, except for Greenback.
And, you know, I guess since we don't follow Greenback that closely, that sort of blows my mind that they were 3-7 overall. I mean, I know a few years ago they did quite well in the state championship a few years back, but I didn't realize they were just 3-7 last year.
Yeah, they took a step back, didn't they?
They certainly did.
Let's go up to the next, they're in 2A. You got Rockwood and Wartburg, and the Tigers end up three-way tie there with Oneida and Monterey. So I think Rockwood probably might be right back up there in that hunting mix. You think?
Yeah, I think they will. They're a very talented football team, and they've very physical as well.
I'm waiting to get some previews on the Tigers so we can watch that show Saturday morning, countdown to kickoff. Exactly. As we mentioned, BBB be right here from 10 to 12 Saturday morning. Mark Packer's hosting a show. You can watch it right here on channel 12. But get some information on some of these local teams. Go up to 3A. No teams there in our viewing area. But Alcoa, they got a new coach.
Steamroller.
Yeah. I'm sure they'll probably bring it home again, won't they?
I would say so.
Can they beat Maryville? That's the question.
That's it.
Got that one loss over there. Here's a 3A here. We've got Kingston Yellow Jackets. Really had a good season last year, sort of tailed off there at the end, but end up second in that region. That was a new region for them last year, and they was always in that region with Alcoa. But and then there was Loudon. Be interested to see about Loudon. I know they lost their quarterback. See how the Redskins will do this year, and Coach Pankey at Kingston should be right there playing for that championship.
He's probably glad he's not playing Alcoa this year.
Just waiting the playoffs.
Exactly.
Yeah. In 4A, Anderson County, they've been undefeated in the region 5 straight seasons.
They get the win when they need the win.
Right. And this region last year, it was a step up for them. Some tougher teams in here. But they should be the favorite. Just looking at, I think, the favorite to win that division or that region this year. You go to 5A and that region you talked about.
Oh, yes.
It's being a competitive pile of state champs there. You know, the big storyline, a lot of it's been Carnes and Deshaun Bishop. You know, some people have got Carnes beating Oak Ridge again. I'm not sure that will happen this year. But, you know, Clinton actually finished 5th. They did not make the playoffs. Campbell County was 4th last year. But the Dragons looking to get back in the playoffs and for the first time since 2015.
Yeah.
There's 6A with Maryville on top and Beard and Farragut. That's a tough region right there. So there's a look at the regions there, Walter. So,
and that one about Beard and the fact that they're previewing that they should be 1-9. I can't believe that.
I'm not buying that. They got a new coach there, Josh Jones, and offensive coordinator from Powell. I heard Bearden's got a lot of players over there. He got a lot of them out. So that's going to do it here for the Locker Room Chat. For Chandler Jones in the back making things happen. For Walter Stair, my name is John Williams, and we'll see you next week on the Locker Room Chat.